Okay, it's time for the paint. I'm going to start with the sealer. I've got the door masked off so I don't get any sealer on that because that's my blend panel. I've also got the body line right above the fuel door area taped off with the soft edge. Just going to be able to dust the sealer under that. That'll just keep it off the top of the quarter. If that wasn't there, I would just have to let it overspray onto the quarter to make sure I get enough color up there to cover the overspray. But I'm going to take advantage of that body line. I'm going to blend the sealer down just over on the dog leg there, just over the primer. And I'll blend the color in when I do the door down the rocker. I'm going to put the sealer on now, and then after that I'll pull the tape and all the paper off and go into doing adhesion promoter and color. Alright, that's it on the sealer. I'm going to let that flash off and pull the paper. Alright, the sealer's about halfway flashed. I want to go ahead and show you what I did in the jam here. This part of the tape actually peeled up, but what I've done is I put the paper about 1/4 inch off the door, and then I came back with tape and just overlapped it just enough to where it blocked a little bit of the sealer from going into the jam all the way down. Just create a little bit of a barrier. What I'll do is I'll come back. Now that it's somewhat flashed, I can peel this off, and that'll expose the jam even further. I'll come back and I'm going to tape. I'll actually tape just onto the edge of the door now so now I can get paint or color and clear all the way in the jam to the soft edge foam tape that's in there, the white foam that you see. I'm going to put color. Once I sand this edge down just a little bit smoother in the sealer, I'll put color on this area right here, up this way a little bit, blend it in. Once I get coverage on the sealer, I'll pull the paper off the door. On the last coat or two, I'll blend into the door. Alright, I'm going to spray a little bit of adhesion promoter right down in this area where I'm going to start the color, and then right up here on the quarter where the color is going to land, so I know it will stick. And then once I pull the paper off the door, get ready to blend the color in, I'll put adhesion promoter over the entire area from the A-pillar all the way back and then all the way down to the fender, and then do the blend. Okay, that's enough for now. I'll get some color on the quarter next. Alright, this will be the first coat of color. I'm not really going to blend it here. I'm just covering the sealer. Okay, I've got 2 full coats on the primed areas. You can see right here that primer is still visible through the color. That's with 2 coats. That's why it's important to put your value shade underneath it. I actually forgot to seal this earlier when I did the quarter panel, but it's actually good so that I have a guide here to know how many coats to put on the quarter, because it looks covered, but seeing that tells me that I don't have it covered. I'll put a 3rd coat on this area and the A-pillar, and then I'll start the blend. Okay, here's the blend. All right, first coat of clear. All right, this is 2 coats of clear. There's the door. The dent right there that I wasn't able to fill, or wouldn't have been able to do the blend. Had to leave it. And on the rocker. A-pillar, there's a repair right there. Got the fuel door up there. It's got the same amount of color as the quarter panel got. Turned out pretty nice. I'll show you the final product when I get it put back together. Alright, I found a water leak back here behind the flange of this assembly here that glues into the back of the quarter panel. There's a flange that runs around it, and it's sealed, and when it pushed the quarter in, when the car was hit, it pushed that flange away. It must have broken some of that sealant somewhere in here where the dent was. I've got some seam sealer here. I can't get the tip back behind this area where I need to get it, so I've got a piece of clear tubing here with an angle cut on the tip. I'm going to insert it in here. I'm going to hold this at an angle, curve it around to get back behind here. And I'm just going to flood some of this down in that seam. I've got it taped off here where I can pull the tape, and it'll be a nice little seam there. I can put some touch-up paint and touch-up clear over that, and it'll blend right in. Hopefully you can see it when I'm in here doing it, but if not, I'll show you afterwards. I'm going to fill the tube. I'm going to slow it down. All right, I'm going to turn it in, put it all the way in the back corner. Start to squeeze it out. Can't see what I'm doing really, but I'm going to drag it along that seam. Starting to be able to see it now. Getting hard to push. I'll tool all that down. Be right back. All right, this is about the best shot of it I can give you. Back in the back corner there, I flooded that, had to put my finger in there and spread it around. That's what the messy part of it is, where I just bumped it, but the fuel door assembly will cover that, pretty sure. Got it covered all the way, if I can give you a shot of that, all the way back to the front opening. Just flooded that, and that seam sealer actually flows a little bit. So that should take care of it. I'll let that set up for about 15 to 20 minutes so it can harden before I water test it again. Here's a shot of the part that I taped off. I just let it flow right down into that gap and stopped it right up next to the quarter panel. I'll come over that with touch-up paint and a little bit of clear, and you'll never notice it. Alright, here's what's going on inside the trunk here. You can see where I've burned the paint off to get the welding studs on. I've got cavity wax over all that, but first thing I did was I put some seam sealer in here just by hand around that flange. You can see the factory sealant up there, it's kind of a teal color. But right at the base in the middle of that flange, it's bent. You can see that. And that's where I thought it might be leaking, so I filled that with seam sealer by hand. After the seam sealer on the outside just hardened up, I tested it again, and it did leak, but I think that would have leaked anyway, because in here at the very top, now that I can get the camera in there, not quite, but this area at the top is not sealed. Well, it wasn't even sealed from the factory. When I sprayed the water hose in here with all that force, it forced the water up through there, and I can see where it splashed and sprayed through into the trunk. It actually got some of the dust from when I sanded the car into the trunk. So I think I've got it. I poured some water here just with a water bottle and watched it run through here, come out, and nothing got into the car. So I think that's going to be good, because when this lid's here, water hose, water, or rainwater will just hit this and run straight down and never have any force going upwards that way. So I think we're good. I'll show you a final shot of it put together in just a little while. Here's a quick look at the finished product before it leaves here. I did buff these panels just to denib the minor dust nibs that were in there. But there is really no sign of it being repaired. Catch you on the next one.